And we back. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Watch Your Mouth Reviews. This is your boy James, where I am here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. It is not gonna happen this video, but that's all right. You know what? We'll live to fight another day. Y'all, this is somebody's son, and joining me on this, as I do not want to do this show, but I have no choice. Mrs. Best is here with me to help me get through this foolishness. Y'all say what's up to Mrs. Best.
Hello. All of James's regular shows should be coming back over the summer and through the winter. You should be good. So just hang in there.
I'm trying, y'all. I can't, but I can't with this show, y'all. It is too much. It is too much because to me, this concept is so stupid. It is. I said I was gonna say this the entire time. It is crazy, but let me go ahead and send a shout out to Shana's channel so I can get started with this. You got Shana underscore MCD's channel. We always post the links on our channel, so make sure you subscribe to her, get a subscriber count on there. While Shana is still here on YouTube before she goes to future endeavors, we want to make sure we support her. We support anything that she does while she's still currently with us. But we love you, Shana. And we still gonna shout you out regardless because you were one of the first to embrace us. So we definitely thank you so much for that. So now that we get to it, we are here talking about this episode that's called Jealousy Rises. And already I don't like the title of the episode because we should not be talking about jealousy when it comes to women, especially Black women nonetheless. But here we are doing it on this foolish show. We have no Jameson, or not James. We have no Chad and Katina this episode, which thank God, because out of all of this somebody's son pairing, they annoy me the most. Mrs. Bez, do you agree, or am I on this train alone?
No, I agree. Katina is
Way
self-centered.
Yeah, way too much.
Yeah.
For somebody who wasn't married, lady, you got a lot of self entitlement. I'm just saying. A lot of like I'm just saying. So I'm glad they were not here this episode because that gave me a break from them. I'm gonna need it. So we focusing on James and Charlize. It is the time for James to go out on his date, and Charlize is picking the date the first go around. So she does pick Alicia. I thought that for some reason she was going to pick I'm gonna get these girls mixed up already. Because Bravon is with Josh, isn't she? Or is she with James? No, Bravon's with James.
She is with James.
Yes.
She went on the date of I call her Angel Reese's lookalike.
She do look like that, yes.
She look like Angel Reese, talented, beautiful basketball player. I'll buy you Barbie, but I don't know her name. I'm sorry, girl.
Yes. But so let me make sure I get these girls right because I don't want let me make sure because I didn't really take too many notes on this. I just put down that he took Alicia on a date and she looks like Shanice is her name from Summer House Martha's Vineyard. I did get that right. Shanice is her name. That's who she reminds me of. It's Shanice from Summer House Martha's Vineyard. She looks just like that.
She does.
But let me see let me get the cast up here really quickly because I'm gonna forget who is here and who is not. Do they have the cast names on this shit? But anyways, so I'm gonna stick it with Chad and Charlize. So he takes Alicia out on a date. You know, they're being very intimate, feeding each other food and everything. And he's really feeling Alicia. He really is. She's younger than the other lady, so she comes with this very vibrant, energy with her. But I feel like that's going to be her downfall because at some point that gets old. And I feel like you're doing this way too strong, way too early. And a lot of women do this. And ladies, I'm going to tell y'all like this that gets old very, very quickly if you continuously come with a vibrant spirit. You need to learn how to balance. And I think that that's going to be her downfall. But they, were talking, and it seemed like a very good chemistry of date. Mrs. Best, how'd you feel the date went between James and Alicia?
Pretty much the same as you. I think that a lot of women in general of all ages are guilty of that. Just because you have a vibrant personality or extroverted, are able to, make people feel comfortable or feel comfortable around others, that's a good thing, but not all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The date was what it was. With a lot of the women that are participating to date James, they all seem to really want to lean into like sexual, um, what do they call it? Sexual love languages, like everything
Mhm.
kind of seductive. I'm going to feed you this, I'm going to do that. And I think sometimes that gets in the way of getting to know people when you're in those earlier stages. Like, don't get me wrong, sex is great. You know, I enjoy it myself, but when you're just getting to know someone, sex can kind of cloud or impact that experience, even if you're not having it and just leaning into that. So that's really all I felt about it. I was surprised she got chosen for the date.
I was too, to some degree, because I kind of felt like with Charlize wants him to be with someone like Brevon, who is aligned more with their family dynamics. And so I felt like for me, the why he won't choose her is because she talks too much. She's kind of a oversharer, over talker, and sometimes people can't really get with that. I'm also a person who overtalks a lot too, so that's where people kind of misinterpret that a little bit. Where we don't to overtalk just to overtalk, we kind of just love just speaking, and that's just really what I felt from her. But it's now the next day for them. We're gonna stay on James and Charlize's, then we'll move on to Josh in a minute. It's the next day, and they're cooking breakfast, and James is in the kitchen, and Alicia walks in, she on cloud nine because her date went well. Bravon comes downstairs with these glasses. And she's talking about she has allergies, which I call bullshit, lady. You was crying. Just, it's okay. And so, the mama said, "No, that's okay, baby. Take them glasses on. Let me see." And I said, "Charlize, this girl, even though it is rude, it's rude to wear sunglasses in the house. It is very rude. But she said, "No, I can't." And it was kind of like Charlize didn't know how to really take that. She was like, "Oh, okay. Well, okay, do you, baby. That's fine." And you could tell Charlize wanted to go in, but she was holding it back. She was keeping it professional. I have to give Charlize that. I don't give Charlize much on this, but she was definitely keeping it professional. And she asked if we need any help with anything. And James said, "No, you kind of too late. Everything's pretty much already done." So she cuts up some fruit. She asked him if he liked grapefruit. He goes, "I don't." And she just kind of feels a little slighted. She's like, "Damn, like he just not picking up." And then she was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna let my man in the kitchen or whatever." And everybody's looking at her like, "Yo, man, like where the hell did that come from?" So as the ladies are all fixing their plates and everything, he is really paying attention to Alicia. He's feeding out of her hand and everything. So they all separate. Alicia is smart. She knows to stay in the kitchen because she knows that's where James was gonna be. But the other two ladies, Bravon and what's that other lady's name? Is that Sabrina or is that somebody else? I don't forgot. No, Sabrene's on the other cast. Sorry, child, y'all, forgive me with these names. I'm trying to remember these ladies. I really am. I don't remember who the other lady was. I'm sorry, other lady that's competing for James's attention. I'm sorry, I forgot you in this moment. I will do better next time with my notes. I really don't care about the show that much, but we just here. But you know, Charlize is not letting up on Bravon. She's like, "Well, so what's going on? Tell me, what it is." And Bravon was like, in her confessional, she's like, I'm a pageant girl. And, I can't help my curves and my figure. And sometimes, they say, okay, well, you need to go on a diet or your hair needs to be straight. So you need to straighten it. She just feels like she has to do things that are out of her own element. And I hate when people get into those circumstances. I do, because I kind of feel like Charlie said, you are enough. You're beautiful the way you are. Don't let nobody tell you that. And if that wasn't the realm where that didn't satisfy you, then you needed to walk away from that. That's just really what you needed to do. And I kind of feel like, man, you're kind of speaking out loud to this experience here. I don't think this is for you. But, people going to be on TV. Mrs. Best, how'd you feel about that in exchange with Bravon?
Girl, go home.
Right.
Like, this is not entertaining. I can understand how the pageantry to this type of experience would reignite some trauma from having to be chosen, but you chose to sign up for a competitive reality dating TV. If we take out the moms, right? Mm-hmm. They act like they didn't know about that part, but they did know that they were signing up to compete to date someone. So you put yourself in this situation. If you are too emotionally fragile to deal with something, it is okay to walk away. And I wish that she would do that. You came downstairs in a mood when everybody else was positive and stuff. You came downstairs in glasses. You could have put some makeup on and contoured under them eyes and hid the fact that you was crying and just told them you stabbed yourself in the eye with the mascara brush or something. Like, you didn't have to do all of that. So I feel like she set herself up for failure and then kind of like used her trauma as an excuse as to it. But you signed up for a fucking reality television competition dating show. What did you expect?
Yeah.
So I feel for her, but then at the same time, I'm like, you chose to be here, and you can choose to walk away.
And that's what Sabrina was, that lady. That was the competition girl. Sorry, I forgot your name, Sabrina. But she was like, I feel for her in this moment because I know what that's like. But this is also a competition. So as much as I want to comfort her and be a girl's girl, I'm here for a man. So I got to kind of take a back seat. I hope she gets it together. And that's what we all hope that Ravon does. Because Ravon, everything is not for everybody. And this circumstance is very unique. And this may not be for you. I don't feel like Alicia and I don't feel like Sabrina have no problem competing for this man. I feel like in terms you do. And there's nothing wrong with that because you shouldn't have to compete for no man. But at the end of the day, let this be a game you set out. We want you to go home and get your mental health together because that's what matters more. So that's all.
Especially with a family as judgmental as James and his mama.
Yeah, because it's on with Charlize. She wasn't that bad this episode, but it's on with Charlize. I'd be like, I don't think I could, deal with that on a daily basis. No, absolutely. So we're gonna move it over to Josh and Oma. So we have not seen them for a couple episodes. So now we're back onto them, and they need to pick a date for Josh to go out with, and Oma asked him, like, who do you like? Well, how should I do this? And he goes, no, I'm leaving that all up to you. Like, whatever you choose. And it was like, okay. So she doesn't know which way she should go with this. And she actually surprised me. So when she sits the ladies down, she actually picks Tamaris to go out with Josh versus Lexi, who I feel like he had the most chemistry with as far as the photo shoot goes, or even Chambrielle, who he actually was the first person to get a kiss from. So it was kind of weird that she went with Tamaris, but her hope for Tamaris is that she opens up more because she has been more on the quieter side, with this. So they go out on their date, but as they're going out, Lexi and Chambrielle go to the jacuzzi. Lexi is bringing up some valid points. Remember, Lexi is peeping game. If y'all don't remember, go back to episode 1. Lexi is peeping game. I think Lexi is like me and can see the shit too, but don't want to call it out because she doesn't want to publicly humiliate this man. But she was like, he gives me some red flags. Like, don't you know? It's like, what does he do for a living? Like, he says he's an entrepreneur, but in what? Because you can be an entrepreneur in anything. And also, he's not opening up. Like, I don't feel like I know him or I can't get a vibe from him. Lexi's calling the shit out, and Chambrielle's kind of feeling something too, but she doesn't want to quite, expose herself, like that. So she said, well, maybe what we'll do is we'll come up with this plan. We'll say, hey, when Tamaris gets back, I'll pull her to the side because she'll tell me everything. And she goes, listen, yeah, and then I'll talk to Josh, even though Lexi playing the game. Lexi, I saw you, but that's okay. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But she said, yeah, and I'll pull Josh aside. But they goes, what happens if they go to the bedroom? Then she said, we're going to knock on Oma's door and say, Oma, something going on in the room. And they laugh, and I thought that scene was hilarious because that's so crazy and childish, but whatever. It made for the episode to be somewhat entertaining. So we go over to Josh and what's that baby's name? Tamaris. So we go on to their date, and it's stiff, it's dry. They both got their little fruity alcoholic beverages, and they're like, "Ooh, it's sweet and spicy." Josh just said, just like me, and I'm just like, Josh, you're telling on yourself, bro. You're telling on yourself. I can see it. I'm not stupid. But anyways, the date talks about acts of love languages. Hers is like acts of service, physical touch, and she said one more. I forgot what the other one was, but I'm like, damn, you got 3 of them. I only had 2. Why do you have 3? Because you might as well because ain't there just 5 of them, Mrs. Best? How many love languages is there?
Shit, I don't know.
I think there's only 5. If I'm not mistaken, there's y'all. If y'all know, put it in the comments. I don't feel like looking that shit up right now. I think there's only 5, but she has 3 of them. I said, "Damn, you're a unique human being." But their date was just very stiff. You could tell, like, and then his perspective is that he wants a girl to love him for him because once they find out he's in the NFL, he questions of whether or not that's somebody really being there for him. And I said, Josh, let me tell you something real quick here. This is where I'm gonna stop being nice, and this is where I'm gonna start being my actual self, which is real. You're not a Super Bowl winner. I think you only played 1 season. That's not enough to say, hey, you're a superstar. I want to be with you for that intention because you don't have to get picked up ever again being a free agent. You have free agents that have been waiting for years and still have not gotten picked up. So that's a flex, but it's not really. Because yes, you can say you were in the NFL. Absolutely. But what we talk about is consistency. We talk about longevity. We talking about, can you continuously play? That's what we talking about here. That's what makes it a
He's
value.
not even telling us. He's not telling us anything because there are different types of free agents.
Yes.
So we don't know if he's restricted or not restricted. I don't know much about football, but I do know that because I got someone in my cousin who's been a free agent since I was younger, like in high school.
Yep.
Never got picked up. So it's one of those things where I need to know. But then he had restrictions from what my dad used to explain. So that's why I say, like, what's really going on?
Yeah, because to me, that's too much of a concern. Like, for you to have that in your mind when you're not currently playing. Like, I could see if he was currently on a team, then I can understand it, because why the fuck are you on the show? Is the question that I would have for you. But the fact that he's not actively playing and he's modeling right now, it's kind of like, okay, is your concern that if they find out you modeling, they may not trust the fact that you never mind. Because to me, it's weird. That's a weird thing to bring up. And it's a weird thing that you would enroll yourself on a show where they're going to say, hey, probably the only reason you're here is because you were in the NFL. So, because that's going to boost up our ratings. So they used you, kind of, to me. At least I'm a feel like that, because one, everybody has solidarity careers. I believe that James is an engineer and Chad does something in IT, I believe. I think that's what he does. I don't remember. Sorry, y'all. But I feel like, to me, they have all of this, and then here's you, the model / the NFL free agent. They're going to use NFL because it's a big name.
What I hear is you do not have no check en route to your bank account via transfer. And what other things I hear is that you have not filled out a W-4 or I-9 in who knows how long. And the money that you do got ain't guaranteed and may or may not be consistent. What can you do for these women while you got these bitches on trial? What the hell can he do for them?
I'm saying.
And I don't like that with dating shows. I see this dynamic even with shows like The Bachelor and Bachelorette, stuff like that. Like, women in today's world, we have to work. Shit's too expensive to not work. Women in today's world, just like many other adults, are forced sometimes to be independent, especially if they ain't got rich families and things like that. A lot of these women that are even up to date him, like Lexi, she, if I remember correctly, whatever her career was in, requires an incredible amount of smarts, wit. Like, she had to work hard. All of these women have pretty decent careers. And then you look at him and it's just like, really? Really, own Oma and her stiffening wig episode by episode? I can't. I want them to at least match the energy and status as it relates to success. If you were going to have this man on this show, what is his name? Josh, if they were going to have him on here and he's a free agent and a model, which are like careers in the entertainment industry that are not guaranteed and nobody really knows his name, then they should have had a bunch of women who were also models, video girls, things of that nature, at least people to match career. But don't put somebody in marketing who's smart with 2 kids with a questionable man who seems like he might play for the other team, if y'all get what I'm trying to say, and who can't even confirm whether he gonna have a job this time next year. Like, no. And I'm not trying to diminish his successes, but there's too many red flags. I agree with Lexi for that. There's too many red
No,
flags.
Lexi, I feel like Lexi is peeping game. And I
She
feel like,
is.
because Lexi ain't no fool. She's older. She already has life experiences. I feel like she's not no fool. And I feel like she's seeing the situation. Yes, he's handsome. Yes, absolutely. And yes, he has an impressive resume at one point. But I feel like, to me, he's not opening up. And his fear, to me, is not valid. Like, your fear is like, oh, they found out I was in the NFL. The key point, the key word is was in the NFL. You're not currently there right now. So what can they do with that?
That's
Nobody's gonna know
true.
second string.
And all of these women honestly are making more money than
Yes.
what he is likely making as a free agent. It doesn't make any sense that he's even concerned about it. It's almost like he just needs to look like he's bigger than them. And that's the part I don't like.
Yes. Thank you for pointing it out, because I felt that exact same way. It does feel like you're trying to diminish what they do to make yourself seem like you are way bigger than them. And it's like, that's not the case at all. If they are, especially because I know Lexi peeping game, I know Lexi probably knows this. If they know what me and Mrs. Best knows, they know you're not bringing in much. I'm sure all of them make more money than you. And I'm sure all of them are more accomplished than you. Because NFL is a big flex, but once again, you only played one season. If you played one season, like, was that just one football game? Come on, like, we're not gonna play like this. I did not know you. I don't even watch football like that, and I know some football players. I don't know you, sir. Nobody knows you. So for that to be your concern, that is crazy. Anyways, moving on. So they get back to the house, and the girls are meeting them at the door with drinks and everything. Lexi pulls Josh to the side, and Shambria pulls Tamaris to the side, and she's asking how the date went. She goes, "Oh my god, the date went well. He's great. Everything is good." And the conversation turns for them, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, Tamaris. If you really feel that the date went good, there's something that they didn't see. But what we do learn is that they did kiss. They did, have some intimate moments, which we did not see. And I guess Owen didn't have a camera in the car or wherever it happened, because they
Well,
didn't
he
play
do
a
the same
flashback.
thing. He do the same thing with every woman on every date. He is gross.
I feel like
He
he
is
only kissed
gross.
Chambria, but did he kiss somebody else that I didn't know about?
But the way he moves with these women, especially like telling Oma, "Oh, you pick, you pick." You could tell he don't care who's there. Whoever's there, he's gonna cop a feel, get a kiss, do something. I don't trust this guy at all, James.
I don't either. I don't either. I feel like this was a horrible pick. But anyways, Lexi's over there, like, she's supposed to be questioning her suspicions, but what she does is she's picking up on I think she's still doing it, but she's doing it in a way where it's flirting, and it was like, man, what are you doing? You're supposed to be catching the red flags. And you're supposed to be calling out the shit that we're all suspecting. Why are you sitting there talking about, oh, what you want to do? Oh, how are you going to do this? Or, what you like in the bedroom? Like, it was kind of like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Are you playing Chambriel and you a snake? Or are you really trying to get down to the bottom and doing it in a flirty way? Because I get you're not supposed to be suspicious with it, but I would have been like, okay, so I want to get to know you better. What you do for a living? Like you said, you're an entrepreneur and what? Because I want to get I would have did it in a way where it wouldn't have been suspicious, but it's a real life thing because y'all supposed to be together. I need to know what you do for a living. Like when I first started dating my fiance, I knew that within the first few hours. So, like, I don't understand why we going all this time and nobody knows what Josh does for a living. That's crazy. This is a crazy, as I said, this concept of the show is absolutely crazy. Josh is a red flag for me. I'm sorry. I don't, as I said, Mrs. Best, I feel like my spidey senses is telling me something else. I feel like if we dig into that past, we're going to find it. But you know what? I'm just going to let them live because I don't really care about this show too much. As far as James and Charlize goes, I kind of feel like I'm glad Miss Charlize was there for Bravon in an emotional moment because you could tell she does have some stunted emotions in there that she needs to get out. So I hope that she definitely does do that. Other than that, once again, I'm glad I didn't see no Chad and Katina because I worry about them. I do. As mother and son,
I
I worry
think
about her.
I think Charlotte's gonna vote out Bravon whenever she gets the opportunity, though. She seems like the type of woman that'll console you, but then put you out and say that,
Snake.
the reason is that I also feel like James exposed himself in terms of like, I believe it was a date that he was on and religion came up. So I don't know. I don't trust Charlize or James either. I don't like any of these people, James.
I don't like them either. Like I don't like none of them either. Because to me, I feel like they're not really representing. First of all, the show, this should not be a dynamic. This should not be a way people date. Like I just, as I said, I don't. To me, I kind of feel like what my mom may like, I don't like, and I feel like she's going into it not knowing the grown son like Katina. Katina does not know Chad at all. So for
Mm.
her to be the person that picks who he dates and actually getting it wrong the very first time and sending the wrong person home, I kind of feel like that's what we're going to get. I feel like these moms are going to send the wrong people home that might be good. Because if we're thinking that Josh really is into women, Lexi is the perfect fit for him because she's going to hold him accountable. She sees the shit for as clear as day, and she's not going to go for it. And I feel like for Chad, Alicia is his pick because right now he's not looking past superficial.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where this is. As far as James go, we sent the lady who I felt was the best fit for him home because Katina got intimidated. That's all that shit was. So therefore, as I said, the show's concept is stupid. Y'all got it wrong. I don't want to see the show anymore. I really don't. After this season, let this be the last. Because I don't believe any of these people are going to end up with each other when it's all said and done.
It's unrealistic. You can't be your true self around someone that is so important to someone you're just now learning. And then to have to also do it on camera. Everyone's set up to fail, but your parents should not have a choice in who you date whatsoever. Yeah, they may influence it, you know, but they should not have a choice in who you date. That's where their parenting is supposed to come into play. And they see if their child, whether adult or not, is able to make good decisions as to who they date. This is stupid, but you know, we'll be here, y'all.
Yeah, we'll definitely be here. We'll definitely, you know, try our best to do the show with whatever we got because it's a terrible show. It just is. But I'm not gonna give up on it because it is content for me. But like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know how you feel about this show, where we are so far. And then also let me know how you feel about each one of the men selected to be on the show with their mothers. I just want to know your opinion because we're not really getting too much on them as much as we're getting on the ladies. I want to know what y'all think about them too. Do you think they're a fit for anybody? But I love you guys. Thank you guys for being here. And I will see you guys on the next review, guys. Bye bye.